how I season them.
I mean, seriously, what? I mean, this guy would have to be like 6'8", 400 pounds to actually hide the ribs in his underwear.
You buried the lead. They were stolen ribs. They weren't just ribs. He didn't go in and buy the ribs. They were just stolen ribs.
There's some places in America, I'm from one of them, south side of Chicago,
right,
where ribs are more valuable than other places.
So you're saying
ribs are a commodity.
So you're saying you would eat them if somebody pulled them out of their drawers?
I might have stolen them at one point in my life.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Seahawks make a change on offense. A Tennessee Titan wants to make Tom Brady look like Blake Bortles.
Ooh.
And Reggie Miller offers a solution to the Lakers' LeVar Ball problem.
Get out.
But we begin today with a fanciful story from Bruce Arians, who just retired from the Arizona Cardinals. Arians told Colin Cowherd that he believes Nick Saban, quote, covets, unquote, the New York Giants job. And that job is open. Arians said it would not surprise him if Nick Saban took that job. Wilbon, would it surprise you?
You know, I get... Given your own history, you're the perfect person to deal with this topic of Nick Saban and the NFL team.
Sure.
And Woody. So I'm going to cede that to you in a second.
Okay.
I'm going to flip this for a second and say, if I'm the New York Giants, would I look lovingly at Nick Saban for 30 seconds?
No.
And the answer is hell to the no.
No.
I'm not looking at Nick Saban.
No.
Nick Saban is maybe the best ever at what he does.
Right.
But what he does and what the New York Giants do ain't the same thing.
This is an important concept. I would be less surprised if Nick Saban took the job than if the Giants offered him the job. We watched this happen in this city with Steve Spurrier, a great college football coach. He came to the Washington Redskins. He was out in 2 years. He went to South Carolina and became, again, a great college coach. It just didn't work. And Nick Saban, unlike Steve Spurrier, Nick Saban bolted eagerly to go to Alabama, leaving a trail of heartache and lies in his wake. So is he the greatest college coach ever? He very well might be. I don't know that the Giants... I mean, here's the interesting thing.
It's not the same job. It's not the same anything.
The Giants are not run by insecure owners who are trying to make a public relations splash. I wondered what is the attraction of the Giants, and Bruce Arians is quoted as saying, when we grew up, the Giants were the thing.
Okay.
That was 50 years ago. I know, because I'm that age.
Right.
The Giants might have been, it's 50 years ago.
Wait.
What?
I don't dispute Arians at all. I believe that there are certain teams for certain generations of young men, boys, and you just spoke to that. The Giants, the glamour of the New York football Giants, I get all that.
Right.
Now, once again, the New York Giants should have how much interest on a 1 to 10 scale in Nick Saban coaching them next year?
2 to 3 at the most.
1.
No, 2 to 3 at the most. But it doesn't matter.
Great at one doesn't mean great at the other.
It's a low number. If I'm the Giants, I want somebody who has been in the NFL more recently than 2006. That's what I want. Don't want him.
So we just plus that out of hand.
Spurrier, I believe, was 55 or 56 years old when he took job with the Redskins the last 2 years.
At least 10 years older, right?
He's 66 now. Why?
Yeah. I don't get it. I wouldn't get it for the Giants. The man most people blame for Seattle handing a Super Bowl to the Patriots 3 years ago has been fired. Darrell Bevel.
Took a while, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Took a while.
Delayed firing. Who called a quick slant at the goal line instead of handing the ball to Marshawn Lynch is out. Just a week ago, Seattle wide receiver Doug Baldwin said Bevel wasn't the problem with Seattle's slow-starting quarterback-dominant offense. Baldwin said repeatedly, quote, "It's not the play calling," close quote, without specifically saying what it actually was. Tony, you like to speculate wildly?
Sure.
So then, was it Bevel, Russell Wilson, or something else entirely?
So let's deal with the notion of speculating wildly, because I will do that now, and I'll try to add things together. Doug Baldwin is from Stanford. Richard Sherman is from Stanford. They were teammates at Stanford. They've been teammates their entire pro career at Seattle. I assume they're close. Richard Sherman started as a wide receiver at Stanford before making the switch. There have been many reports over the years that indicate that Richard Sherman is not happy with Russell Wilson.
Although he says their relationship is professional.
Okay, that doesn't mean they're happy. So if you're asking me to add 2 and 2 together, I would say this might very well have something to do with Russell Wilson. And that's why Doug Baldwin would say it has nothing to do with the coordinator.
It always seems to have to do with Russell Wilson, even more so, I think, than most quarterback situations. And there's always professional jealousy of quarterbacks. And I'm not accusing Richard Sherman or Doug Baldwin of that. Not either one of them. Because they were part of a very glamorous defense that won a Super Bowl and led that franchise back to another Super Bowl.
Absolutely. When you look at that Super Bowl win, that's like looking at the Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl win. We think it's defense first. Absolutely.
No question. And while Doug Baldwin is one of my favorite players in sports to listen to on a number of matters, including societal matters that have nothing to do with sports, I'm not taking him over Russell Wilson to start a football game. I'm not.
Yeah.
So what is it? And by the way, you don't get penalized to be a Seattle Seahawk if you run your mouth. Say what's on your mind. Say what it is. Don't hide behind this. This is
let's go to Russell Wilson for a second.
Who's an outspoken guy.
When we talk about Russell Wilson, we always talk about what a magician he is.
Yeah.
We always talk about, look at him run around there because his receivers can't get open.
Right.
Well, what if Doug Baldwin says, you know, I can get open, and this guy's a hot dog, and he's holding the ball and holding the ball and holding the ball, so he'll look good.
And there would be some resentment.
If you're asking me to speculate wildly, that's where I would go.
Is firing Darrell Bevell going to be the solution for them?
The Seattle Seahawks are in the position coming into next year that Arizona and Cincinnati were in this year, that they're about to plunge.
It looks like it.
They're about to
plunge. It really does.
Tennessee Titans All-Pro safety Kevin Byard says he wants to make Tom Brady look like Blake Bortles when Tennessee plays New England on Saturday night. Byard says, quote, this is a playoff game, so I don't really care if it's Joe Montana. I want to make him look like Blake Bortles if I can and try to catch a couple of picks, unquote. Wilbon, do you expect this comment to work for or against Mr. Byard? And who should be more offended, Brady or Bortles?
Brady's never paid attention, so he's not offended. Bortles should be, except he can't be offended because everybody in the league hates his guts, apparently, from their comments all season. So I don't know who should be offended. I understand why Byard feels like he feels, and that should be his objective, stated or otherwise. I give them no chance.
No chance, I know.
Once again, none whatsoever. But I understand why he feels that way.
The 13.5 points in a second-round playoff game, which is an enormous number,
yes.
Would you take it?
You sure?
Oh, so you take Tennessee plus 13.5?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm not a bettor. I don't understand the language. Do I believe that the New England Patriots are going to win that game by more than 13.5 points? Yeah. Yes, I do.
So you don't think that Brady is paying attention?
No.
Let me bring you back and refresh your memory to a certain Maldives safety for the Steelers named Anthony Smith.
That's different. That's the Steelers.
Who guaranteed a victory over New England. You know the fighting one? Take a shot. The final score was 34-13.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game, Brady was found in the end zone yapping.
Yeah, I know.
Yapping
and
at that guy.
Belichick went after him too, but that's the Steelers. There's a respect among royals. Let me tell you who's not a royal.
Blake Bortles.
The Jacksonville Jaguars, none of them.
Okay.
And
you think Brady's not paying attention? This is what he posted on Instagram today.
What are we saying?
And that's why it doesn't matter. They're all the same.
Either one of them, they are the same.
This is what Brady posted on Instagram. Brady, fate whispers to the warrior.
I know, I saw that.
You cannot withstand the storm. The warrior whispers back, I am the storm. Let me go to the more interesting issue here, which is who should be more insulted. You would think it'd be Blake Bortles because the guy takes a shot out of nowhere.
Takes a shot again.
But he also puts him in the same sentence as Tom Brady, so that's a big victory. Good. Brady should be more insulted because he probably does not know who Blake Bortles is.
Do you think defensive players wake up in the morning and text each other and say, listen, you got a clear shot on social media today as Blake Bortles or mainstream. You got a shot, take it. They all do it.
It is sort of like a headshot that you get thrown out of the game for.
Unbelievable.
Terrible.
Yesterday, we talked about what in the world Jalen Hurts should do after being sent to the bench in that title game. Today, we can talk about a kid named Jacob Eason, who was the starting quarterback at Georgia until a knee injury made him Wally Pipp to Jake Fromm's Lou Gehrig. Eason, a sophomore who has a 7-5 record as a starter at Georgia, disputes a report in the Seattle Times that he's going to transfer to the University of Washington. Tony, doesn't it make sense to you that this kid, who's from Washington State, would go home and compete for a chance to play?
100%. This kid is never going to play at Georgia again. He's not going to beat out Jake Fromm. And the reports are that Georgia recruited the best high school quarterback in the country. So, and that kid might beat out Fromm. So this kid, Eason, is never going to play. You're from Washington State. You go back to Washington State. You play at UW. You play for a guy who coached at Boise State and now Washington, where he loves quarterbacks. Chris Peterson, I think is his name, right? He loves quarterbacks. That's exactly, why wouldn't you go there?
The kind of coaching up you should have. You know what, there's a bigger picture for me here, Tony. And I know, listen to that national broadcast the other night.
The Megacast?
The championship game. Yeah, both of those.
Megacast?
I clicked over a couple times.
Yeah. All
you have is like you used to say, Jets on a Friday afternoon at LaGuardia. They're stacked on top of each other. They have nowhere to go. And so in basketball, starting about 30 years ago, guys would say, you know what? I'm not going to go be the fourth point guard for Dean Smith. I'm going to go play over there because I can play. I can come back and beat Dean Smith, maybe. And college basketball changed for the better. Is there no sense of that with college football? Kids just go one after another. It just seems egomaniacal on the parts of the kids and their parents.
How about
all
of these five-star? This kid was a five-star quarterback.
Yeah.
Fromm is a five-star.
Yeah.
The new kid may be an 8-star. How about all these kids going to Georgia to play for a defensive guy?
Okay.
Kirby Smart's a
Why
defensive
go to the same place
Can I ask you a question? How come LSU can't get a 3-star? LSU has more people in the pros right now than any other school. They got 51. If they had a quarterback, they'd win everything.
If you were a parent, you might make your kid let the kid make the decision.
No, I would force my kid to go to LSU.
Somewhere else. Forget LSU. Anywhere else where they need a quarterback.
Every other great player.
Do they need one in Georgia? Right now, do they need a quarterback in Georgia?
They got 8 of them. Right. No. Reggie Miller,
my boy, I love
thinks he knows how to solve the LeVar Ball issue. He told Dan Patrick that Magic Johnson,
my boy,
should tell LeVar to shut up or the Lakers will trade Lonzo Ball. Let's listen.
Reg.
I've become close to almost threatening. If you keep opening your mouth, we're going to trade your son. So it's one of the two things. Shut up, fall in line, let Luke do what he's got to do, and let Lonzo play how Lonzo wants to play, or we'll start taking calls. Magic Johnson, the Magic Johnson has to say that.
Yeah.
Not Luke. Not Luke.
Wilbon, is it really this bad?
God bless Reggie Miller. Seriously. Seriously. I'm glad he's done it. You know how I'm fed up with a lot of what we at this network do, which is putting a microphone under the mouth of LeVar Ball. I hate that. I find it loathsome. Let me be on the record. Again, God bless Reggie Miller, because this is the stance you're running a professional basketball program here in Los Angeles. You don't have time for LeVar Ball, all right?
You never thought it would come to this.
I never thought it would come to this, but you know I've always thought LeVar Ball, what he does is detestable. You know that. I've been consistent. Other people have said, oh, he's a marketer. No, he's not. He behaves like the village idiot most of the time, and he undermines his children.
Right.
Okay? So I got no time for that, and I got all the time in the world for what Reggie Miller did.
So let me broaden this out a little bit, because there was an interesting story today in the Washington Post by Tim Bontemps. I hope I have his name right.
Yeah.
And he said that the Lakers, by not coming out and defending Luke Walton, which they have not done, are hanging him out to dry. Now, I would think to myself, maybe the Lakers would go to Luke Walton and say, we don't even want to dignify LeVar Ball.
Yeah, I might disagree with Tim.
But other coaches now who have defended Luke Walton, don't you think Magic Johnson, honestly, should come out and finally say, he's our coach and this guy's got to shut up?
I've had a lot of time to think about this. And I think, knowing Magic as I do, that the first response is sort of what you said. Let's deal with Luke. Let's talk to him privately. Let's not just stoke the fires of this.
But every day now.
I know. And it gets to a point where you get to what Reggie's saying. We have tried to handle this privately. We have talked to you privately. We've done all these things. And now you are just making us look like a clown show.
Yes.
We're the Los Angeles
Lakers.
Lakers.
Right. That's right.
It is almost time to utter that phrase I uttered about another coach in the sport. Get the hell out. It's almost that time.
Do you think there's any chance?
And that's the father first, not the kid.
Do you think there's any chance that Magic Johnson at this moment regrets drafting Lonzo Ball with the number 2 overall?
I think Lonzo Ball is a better player than a lot of people make, because they just look at the three-point result and determine them. Tony, you know what the Lakers need to do this year? Develop and lose. Develop and get another lottery pick. It ain't time for the Lakers to be
Don't you think they need to back Luke Walton, though, publicly?
Yes, I do.
Let's take a break. Coming up, what's the word for this scrap in last night's game between the Raptors and the Heat?
And I think Jeannie Buss did that, by the way, Tony. I think she did.
How
excited should Celtics fans be about that picture right there? Gordon Hayward not wearing a brace.
No disrespect to Jeannie Buss, but she's not Magic Johnson.
She owns a team.
Well, Magic Johnson's got to say it.
He's got to back
Rob Pelinka's got to say it.
Clean your chin.
The honorary doctor is in, which means it's time to put some humane letters together to make some words of wisdom.
No, it's just
Let's
honorary.
Get the first one from the producer over the loudspeaker.
Honorary.
Serge Ibaka and James Johnson had a blank confrontation last night.
Suspendable. They both had to go, and they both went. They threw punches. You can't throw punches. The NBA understands that and suspended them a game today. Serge Ibaka, as strong as he is, he's pretty lucky. You know the nickname of the other guy?
James Johnson's like an MMA guy.
Yeah, Bloodsport is his nickname. He's a black belt in karate, and his whole family are black belts in karate.
Yeah.
Ibaka's lucky it stopped when it stopped.
Well, it probably is. And, Tony, it was a NBA fight, which means they didn't really want to be there. Charles always told me that. Charles was in some actual fights with, like, Bill Laimbeer. Remember that time Maurice Lucas squared off? Was it with Daryl Dawkins? And Julius Erving went to center court, and he sat on a ball, and he watched them because he knew they didn't really want to be there. The NBA The ratings are up. The interest is up. The players are not for this stuff because they feel their product is great right now.
Next.
Don't fight. Don't do it.
Celtics fans should feel blank about the picture of Gordon Hayward without an ankle brace.
They should feel wicked crazy. Danny Ainge did this and put it out there today with one purpose only, to gin up crazy excitement on the part of Celtics fans that the guy is going to return. And Brad Stevens had to come out and say, hey, he's on rehab schedule that he's on. We're not making changes to that.
Celtics fans should feel spring-like, as in right after March 21st, maybe get a little glimpse. You know,
you think he's going to play this year?
One correspondent said from courtside in Cleveland, right after the injury, don't rule him out. Let's see what happens in the spring.
Do you think he's going to play this year?
I think there's a shot.
No, I don't think he's going to play this year. No.
I think there's a shot.
Danny Ainge is smarter than your average bear, though.
Why would he do it if he didn't think there was a shot?
To get everything crazy. Let's go next.
The Marlins should blank Starlin Castro's reported trade demand.
They should honor it. Castro was in a rebuild with the Cubs, and when the Cubs got really good, they traded him. Luckily for him, he got to the Yankees, who would be really good very, very soon. He doesn't want to go to the Marlins and do a rebuild. I understand that. And in the words of our colleague and friend Dan Lebitard, you can't sell a lot of jerseys with the name Castro on the back in South Florida.
Okay, I'm not going to deal with commenting on that. But this is a Ken Rosenthal report, and I think they should expedite Starlin Castro's request. Do it now. Starlin Castro, Tony, still under 30 years old, has been at least a three-time All-Star.
Good player.
Was good with the Yankees, okay?
Yeah.
Was really good with the Cubs. And, yes, he got caught up in this thing where he was dealt away, and then they won a world championship. I love Starlin Castro, number 13, and I'll buy his jersey anytime and wear it and have my kid wear it. Got that?
That almost made me cry.
Thank you.
Next.
Last one. It was blank to see Chris Mullin and Patrick Ewing coaching against each other last night.
It was depressing, and I'm going to tell you why, because I didn't know about it.
How did you not know?
I didn't know about it. I picked up the Washington Post this morning. It was on D7. For 35 years of my life, it was on D1, wasn't it? And you waited weeks for it, and you circled it on the calendar. And it was Carnesecca and Thompson, and it was Ewing, and it was Mullin, and they only had 9,000 people in Madison Square Garden, and it was a bad game, I'm told. And personally, it was depressing to me because it was proof that the Big East doesn't exist.
It was nostalgic because they still exist. They, once bitter rivals, are now dear friends, and they're trying to resuscitate their schools. Yes, there's schools, Tony. I don't know how you didn't know.
I didn't know.
Because I knew, because I was at Chatter with my son watching the game. You know what I said to him? Seriously, the game wasn't much, Tony. But I said, this is Chris Mullin and Patrick Ewing. He said, Dad, the teams are bad. Why do we care?
I don't know.
Because we care about them and the effort they're putting forth to resuscitate their teams.
We do because we're old and your boy's young. That's it.
Learn something.
We're done playing doctor.
What are you not doing
one
there?
Last embarrassment. Still to come. Alabama loses some big names to the NFL draft.
Had 2 bowls of the chili last night.
What's the chili's name?
Nowhere to be found.
What's the chili name?
The Wilbon. Not the Ewing, not the Mullin.
The Wilbon
We'll find out whether Tony's prediction of a suspension for Isaiah Thomas comes true. I was there. Where were you? There were people there. We were
because I didn't know there was a game.
How did you not know, by the way? The Washington Post is a lot of great things. D7 for that.
Interruption is brought to you by Domino's. Oh, yes, we did.
Happy time. People, happy 42nd birthday, Ian Poulter, and happy 73rd birthday, Rod Stewart.
Whoa.
Why are we putting together a golfer and a rock star?
Why are we?
Just for the coincidence of sharing a birthday? No, because Ian Poulter could be Rod Stewart's son. Look at them. They look alike. Wilbon, do you know who Rod Stewart is?
Yeah. Tonight's the Night. Is that one of his songs?
Maggie May is one of his really good songs.
Okay, well, I know who. I mean, I don't compile
do you like
his stuff. It's not on my playlist.
I've always looked at Poulter. I've always said he looked like Rod Stewart. Happy anniversary, Bud Grant. On this day 2 years ago, the 88-year-old longtime Vikings coach went out for the ceremonial coin toss in a golf shirt, despite the opening kickoff registering -6 degrees. The only negative thing about the Vikings possibly making the Super Bowl, playing the game on their home field, is that it's indoors. So when Bud Grant is out for that coin toss, it won't be a big deal. He's wearing a golf shirt because everyone will.
Minneapolis tough guys. Bud Grant and Lou Grant. Who was your favorite Grant?
Oh, Lou. Lou.
Both tough.
Lou. Happy trails to Duron Payne, Bo Scarborough, and Calvin Ridley. These 3 Alabama underclassmen standouts declared their intention to enter the NFL draft today. Starting running back Damian Harris is returning. The national champs have 3 more underclassmen who are still deciding. Wilbon, when you watched Georgia, Alabama, didn't it seem like each school had 15 to 20 NFL prospects?
Yeah, Alabama had 10 last year drafted. just in 2017. Georgia had like one, but
They're
it
gonna
seems
get
like
more.
they're chock full.
It
There's
does.
this great recruiting
It
class
does.
coming in.
It does. No errors today, and we go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network reports that the Bears are likely to keep Vic Fangio as defensive coordinator. Is that a big deal, Mr. Chicago?
In Chicago it is, because the players seem to love playing for him, and the defense made strides, Tony. The defense did. The Packers hired former Browns head coach Mike Pettin to be their new defensive coordinator. Is that a good hire?
I had completely forgotten he was a head coach.
Yeah?
Completely forgotten. Ben Roethlisberger says he does not believe this weekend will be his last game at Heinz Field. Are you surprised?
No.
Doesn't he threaten to
should
retire
keep
every
playing.
year?
He
Doesn't
keeps
he?
playing. I just want to see Ben play. The NBA fined Isaiah Thomas $20 grand for clothesline and Andrew Wiggins. No suspension. I get it right. You get it wrong.
I got it wrong. But I think the NBA got it wrong.
Oh, stop.
I think he came right up on his
He
neck.
did.
No,
He did.
it's a hostile act. He
Oh,
should have been suspended. Last one, Kevin Durant needs 25 points tonight against the Clippers to hit 20,000 in his career. Is that a significant number?
It is, Tony, but 30,000 is the golden number. That's where you got like 6 guys, and
Hall of
LeBron's
Fame.
going to be 7.
Absolutely.
The best of all time.
We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. And I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. You can get the podcast on the app, Apple Podcast.
Richard Justice, happy birthday. Shout out.
Now saying which one? Richie? Huh?